happening right now. Sonic Wave is there, it's getting lower and lower.
Oh!
They've stolen it! Mammoth have got the Baron.
Well, first game of the day was a much shorter one. Much shorter affair than we really expected, especially with how we were touting it at the start of the show. But of course, we have another game that is a potential banger coming up for game number 2. And that's Direwolves up against Peace. Peace so far looking very damn good at the top of the table, and they're looking to make that 3-0. I'm hoping that this is going to be a bit more closely contested than what we saw in game number 1 today, but I'm not too sure if that is going to happen. However, you guys at home, you had about 5 minutes or so. I really, really hope you made those memes. Jump on into it, get the bloody Photoshop cranking, or Paint. MS Paint memes are the greatest memes in existence. Now, that's out of the way. Get them done, and we'll show them just after the match. But let's start to talk shop. We got Direwolves. Let's talk them first. Skimmy, tell me, why is this team of misfits so damn good, and how are they going to take the cake today, and why is it Bulldog who's going to be leading the charge?
Oh, unbelievable personality, isn't he? He's funny, he's charming, he's built different, and he had a really, really standout performance. You know, a rookie coming in, looked very clean, looked, you know, there didn't seem to really be any nerves there. He was landing hooks on the fresh, he was zoning really well as a Leona, up against some big players, but certainly rising up to the big task is what I'd say. I think this bot lane's definitely going to be one that we have to get excited for as the weeks go by. Frost has got a very unique champion pool. We can play the meta as we've seen here. Plays an assassin Jhin, apparently, but also as years have gone by, we've seen him play things like the Cogmore and the Vayne. Loves to go for the hard carries, and ever given a chance will certainly pop off on those. I think Kyosei, he was strong in this game, had a farm lead, had kill leads, but the Zoe really didn't get to play the game. How many times did we see Rusty during that match where he would portal through, look to be a nuisance, never grasp. Malzahar has just outplayed me, so I'm looking at a lot of these plays, uniquely very good, but need to find some angles where the draft doesn't work against him, I'd say.
Yeah, just try to change something up going into this week. You know, they really want to try to find some more success. But look, Peace, they've got Draft Lord there as well, so you're never going to be able to not find a counter if this man just knows everything there is to do with drafting and the champs in this game. Rusty, tell me about the rest of the team, man.
There's no stopping the Draft Lord, but when we look at the rest of the team, you would have to say so far, you would be honestly somewhere beyond impressed by the first week that they put up for us. In saying that,
yeah.
The thing that I wanted to talk about looking at this roster of Peace is I feel like fundamentally, they're actually exactly the same as last year, right? Like, as the team that won. Chaion, you could call him a little Violet. You would hope so, right? Given that he spent a year underneath him. Appy in mid lane, you would call a flexible mid laner, which is what Tally provided last year, right? Top lane, you would say there's a lot of carry potential, which is what Appy actually provided top lane. When he was up there as well.
Yeah.
And Lisa definitely facilitative, loves the Nidalee, etc. So can be even considered similar to Babib. And Aladoric beats, I think, Peas in a pod in how they want to play. The main difference here is that we've only really seen the Lulu and the like from Beats so far, but definitely has that Rakan, Alistar mindset in him embedded there. So I'm excited to see how this piece redevelops with a similar style that they found success with.
It's funny, right? Because Uppy, when he was up top last year, he had the most versatile champ pool out of anyone else here in the LCO. Now he's in mid. I want to see if he's going to do the same thing again. Is he just going to keep it fresh because he doesn't want to get bored? Keeps other teams guessing about what's he going to play this week? Or are we going to see him go more towards the meta now he's gone back for that role swap? What are we thinking in regards to that, Skimmy?
Big ask. I suppose it really depends on how the team formulates their ideas, right? Whether or not Chaion becomes this absolute 1v9 beast, and they say, we're locking in TF, we're locking in Rise, we're playing split push pressure, I'm ganking bot as soon as level 6 is there, get ready, summon advantages, give me everything. Give me timers, give me lane states, give it all. If it doesn't work out, if they need more time, then I think they can certainly work their way towards Tien being this absolute behemoth of a player, right? He plays the carry, absolutely stomps as the GP. Next game up against Pentanet says, I can play the Gragas. I'll soak up the pressure. These casks will land. We'll set up team fights for success. And then Appy says, I'll be the carry, right? I think in that game he played Corki.
Yeah.
There's that one clip that rings to mind, right, where top lane he hits the package. But I think overall he did like 41% of the damage in that game. So, yeah. Versatile, smart, insane.
And look, let's have a deeper dive into Appy, but also Kiyose, who is going to be one of the win conditions for Direwolves. It's the head-to-head here at the mid lane, Rusty. There's numbers, and you're a numbers man. Please tell me about it.
I will say it's not just Appy that can be versatile. Kyose's got his niche picks. He has a very expansive champion pool. I don't think beyond the kill participation there is too much to talk about here as the stats show. However, 52% is a fairly low KP for a mid laner. Generally a very active and involved champion, especially, you know, that Zoe game you would expect was a part of every single kill.
Yeah.
And had a LeBlanc game in there as well where they won. So it could just be that there was too many solo kills with him not available to be there with how convincing that game was. Might be skewing the stats. Again, only 2 games in for both of these players, but Appy heavily involved in the team's success every single time. The average damage share super high for him as well. And a lot to commend for both of these guys, and LeBlanc is a champion that I kind of want to see a little bit more of in competitive League of Legends in mid lane. And a lot of our mid laners seem to have those preferences to top lane champs just for the flexibility, right, in the draft phase. But LeBlanc beats things like the Corki early, and I think if you're capable and confident enough to snowball early, it's worth it.
Yeah, it's one of those things as well where those averages, they're going to change a whole bunch over the course of the next couple of weeks. And those stats, they're crazy. And if you want to see a little bit more LeBlanc, well, this man is the man you want to see on it because he was popping off with it last year. And he might just do it again. However, someone that pops off all the damn time, especially in solo queue, is Kitty. So let's bring her back in because she knows a whole lot about the game. And she's got some more players that also know about the game to bring in for the pre-match interview.
Yep, so I have Frost and Beats waiting on the side, waiting to join in on the conversation. Hey guys, game 2 of week 2. So starting with Frost, welcome to the LCO. A lot of players spoke highly of you, which is also backed up from your week 1 performance. You had a really good KD of 7-1-11 on the Jinx and a 3-1-3 on Jhin, averaging 1 death per game. How are you going to live up to these expectations?
I mean, like, we're really excited and pumped. You know, if I'm get drafted, you know, hyper carried picks, I'm just gonna go out there and perform. So, yeah.
I mean, it's always nice to have confidence, especially against maybe Peace tonight. And my next question is, you have switched from Mammoth to Direwolves. How have you adapted to better suit the roster?
I mean, I can now play like more utility champs like Jhin, Senna, to like help my team out, and because they're all really solid players, and we probably have one of like the best mid junglers duos in the LCO. So you know, just hoping to assist them to carry the game.
Having a diverse pool is also really important in compet, but moving on to Beats, congrats on the 2-0 week from week 1, remaining undefeated alongside the Chiefs. How does that make you and the team feel?
I think it's pretty normal, I guess. It's only like first week, so hopefully we can keep another 2 week. It'll make us feel better.
I mean, talking about last week, I was looking at the draft. You guys picked Lulu R1 and R3. Why is Lulu such a high priority pick with Cheon in the bot lane?
I think Cheon is still pretty new, so picking in Chinese, I can at least help him in lane phase. So once he gets a lot better, I'll be playing a lot more melees.
Yeah, because we've seen you on those melee champions, and you have popped off on them. And Cheon has died a lot less comparatively with the Lulu. So thank you for the interview, guys, and let's head it back to Mac.
Thanks.
All right.
See ya, guys. Yeah, good to see it. Now, I really love just the perfect timing of the thanks as they're getting thrown off of the broadcast and into
Sliding
the
off.
Rift, of course, which isn't too far away. Now, speaking of sliding, we're going to be sliding over towards predictions now, of course. This one, I feel like we're probably all going to be on the side of peace. Anyone changing things up? Nah, not today. Now, Kitty, let's go reverse order. Why do you think peace is going to take the cake here?
Well, obviously we saw from week 1, Peace probably had maybe a similar they had a similar level compared to Chiefs. Chiefs is the super team, right? Although Cheon is new, I think he is also becoming a mini Violet. And just looking at Dials' roster, obviously, compared to Peace, they are still rookies. They've only played for 1 year at max. I'm still gonna go with Peace tonight.
Okay, Rusty, what about you? Any thoughts, and what chance are you going to give Direwolves here?
Oh, I mean, if I had to give a percentage on this game, probably 75-25 to Peace. I feel like that's fair. Peace have just looked too clean so far, right? Like, it's so hard to actually fault Peace with what we've seen of them from their 2 games. And low sample size, sure, right? But the Direwolves loss, I think a lot was shown. And I think that is very easy for Peace to replicate today, you know, with such a short turnaround.
Okay, Skimmy, what about you? Any surprises here? Any reasoning behind it? Or is it just that Peace is looking like the better team?
Yeah, I think you could say that as a blank statement, right? But I think the biggest lane difference is going to be found on the top lane. I feel like Tien certainly will abuse players that aren't able to go toe-to-toe with him. We saw Zoranis go from the absolute hero as the Vladimir, then to being the humbled man of like a 0-8 Camille, right? So certainly a situation that he needs to be prepared for. I think you could argue in other lanes it's going to be a lot more competitive. Perhaps the bot lane of all places.
Yeah.
But I feel like top lane is definitely an area which Peace will invest time and will look to try and snowball from.
Okay, I feel like Peace, they're just looking like the better team. I'm not going to go way too in-depth on it. Now, let's have a quick chat. So any changes in particular going into patch 12.2, Kitty, that you think will affect both of these teams' lineups going towards Champ Select? I know Lulu did get that slight nerf, and we did see a lot of that from Beats in the first week.
Well, obviously we did see the Janna photo. Janna's been buffed, especially a lot of people playing Glacial. I did catch Beats playing some Janna games in solo queue.
Okay.
Maybe that's gonna be a thing for tonight's game. But obviously Drake got removed. Chemtech Drake got removed. So it's a lot better for enchanters because they're not as pressured to play around Drake, perhaps. But yeah, that's what my thoughts are.
Okay, very cool. Now, Rusty, what about you? Any thoughts on the patch notes and what could change going into this matchup?
I was just kind of running through the champions and the patch notes as well, and I think beyond the Janna, yeah, like Lulu's still good. I don't think we'll see that go away anytime soon. I don't think anything's changed meta-wise from the patch. I think really they just added bot laners. Like, I think this whole patch just adds champions in bot lane. More than anything else.
We'll see if that changes anything, but I did hear from a little birdie that Champ Select is ready, so you don't have to wait any longer. Game number 2 here on LCO Week 2. Let's go in.
Fantastic. Let's do it. Let's load ourselves into the Nexus and get ourselves excited here for a chance to see if Peace can make it the perfect 3-0, or if the Dire Wolves, maybe some people call them the Dire Cubs as the rookie squad, can cause an upset.
Yeah, and it's weird to say that it's an upset so early, right? But just with how good Peace have looked, it's hard to look past that one. Just waiting to see where these drafts start to play out, with the Lee Sin first pick as a high priority. Remember that the Xin Zhao's available, right? There's a Viego available, there's a Jarvan available if you go no mobility, Diana another champion in that pool as well. So it's odd to me that they went so aggressively to the Lee Sin. I think that is more a sign that they didn't have a priority pick, right? They were prioritizing their 2-3 and just went for a strong, reliable, you know, dependent jungler. That really is that Lee Sin. However, they've given over 2 very strong picks.
Oh, very good picks. I mean, I think of Godot, I think of Diana, I think of those performances where he pops off. He actually did it against Peace of all teams this time last year, right? So he's certainly a player that could look to try and tap into some of that magic and run things back again. I will say, though, which is interesting for me, is the amount of respect thrown towards Kyosei. LeBlanc and Karma both removed, and, you know, enabling Appy really to have their best possible matchup into him.
Yeah, well, the way that I see this, right, is LeBlanc is really good into Corki, into Victor, into like those slow scaling control mage mid lane champions. LeBlanc provides insane kill threat. It also couples incredibly well with junglers. Pretty much every meta jungler right now is really happy to have a LeBlanc on their team because mid suddenly becomes a gank angle, and then you have a winning 2v2, right? That is basically like, she is so oppressive in just the 2v2 sense that you have to consider it. I like the ban. The Corki immediately follows, and I think that's just a good decision. It's just a good respect ban. And if Dials choose to lock this in, they are just becoming Chiefs and Pentanet.gg light. We'll see where they choose to go. This combo makes a little bit more sense
Yes, this is the wombo combo of all wombo combos. I've seen it happen time and time again. You hit the Moonfall, you knock everybody up, and Kyosei says, well, that is the best ultimate I will ever have to
Hey, do you
follow
not
things
get
up with.
vibes that Zoranus could, like, he would be a werewolf if he was in a Hollywood film? You know what I mean?
True. Okay, like a Twilight reboot?
Oh, you could go the Twilight route if you
Sure.
want. I wasn't going to do him like that, but...
Life after esports?
Yeah. He just looks like...
Or maybe during esports, perhaps a man of many talents. Who knows?
I
I will
can't
tell
get
you who
over
has
it,
talent,
man.
though. Beats. This guy is playing Lulu again and again and again. It's the only champion he's played, Rusty. I mean, he's living his best life.
Oh, yeah, so talented. 3 games of Lulu. No,
Yes.
He definitely does have a lot of talent. He's just being kept onto Enchanted duty right now. It's fair. Lulu's super good at the moment. Definitely is something worth considering. I think when you've got the Karma band, when you've got actually blue side and you can pick a champion in 2 bands, I think Lulu is good. You cannot make the mistake of just a blind first pick of a bot lane Lulu, because then Nautilus will exist, right? Nautilus Leona is also one of the other options. Just be super aggressive down in bottom lane. And Jinx is an AD carry that has such high range, even compared to the Aphelios, that it can start to be a very difficult lane to play out. However, revealing the Lulu does still mean that you get a fairly free choice of a bottom lane for Direwolves.
Does make me wonder, whatever supports, if they go down that avenue, will they remove? Nautilus obviously makes sense, another knock-up, another avenue for them to find kill pressure early on and not be so heavily reliant on one champion to get the ball rolling. They do remove the Camille, so Zoranus won't be able to go for those split push tactics once again. I do quite like this Vex ban too. I mean, I just imagine a Shadow Surgeon, you hit the Fear, Direwolves are trying to wombo combo, but you've just hit them first.
Yeah, I mean, this is a monster wombo though. We'll have to see how the rest of this comp plays out. If it's a Rakan, then they've got more than one avenue for the Yasuo ult combo.
Wow.
Top lane's just a Malphite, lock it in, and then you've just gone for Bronze Zodia. Skimmy?
Yes.
That's
It's
what
like your
this
Clash
is.
team, isn't it?
Yeah, this is 100% what are in the makings right now. Just make the team fight as easy as possible and then just try and refine the rest of it. As for laning phase, you know, Rakan into a Lulu Aphelios does still have some pressure, some threat. If you engage and get polymorphed, however, you will still potentially have some rough trades down there. So I'm interested to see the rune choices from the bottom lane of Direwolves. Just looking towards the rest of the map here, though. One of the top lane champions that could combo with the Yasuo has been taken away.
Yes.
Just
yeah,
waiting
the
to see where they finish this one off. It's mid lane left, right? Unless it's a Gragas mid.
Once upon a time, we did see a Graves mid.
Okay, maybe it is a Gragas. It's Appy. It's Appy.
I mean,
maybe
it
it's
can
a
be
Lee
flexed.
Sin top.
Look, we can see a lot of variations right now. We have seen Lee Sin top. Oh no, Rusty, you've said it. The cursed words. It's being hovered.
I mean, it'd just be rude not to, right? They've got so much damage already. They need a tank. He just picked Gragas top potentially into. If it's a Graves top, then you just get some plated steel caps and just staunch the Graves. Like,
Oh,
it genuinely is Bronze Odia.
They've done it. I don't actually have the stats immediately on hand, but I'm pretty sure Direwolves were the only team to play Malphite last split as well, weren't they? I'm trying to think what game it was. Where was that? It was in the playoffs, was it?
Saying
I think they...
Malphite lost?
I think it was Shock that played it. No, I think it was Claire that played it up against Peace and Split
Yeah,
playoffs.
Claire 100% played it.
Yeah, is this just a Direwolf DNA thing? They lock in the rock, they smash boulders together, and they say, we're pressing R and have at it.
Looking like they could be werewolves themselves. It's just a Direwolves camp's got it going on. Look, we don't really need to talk too much about their composition, Skimmy. I think everyone knows what it does
Sure.
right now. There's a lot of knock-ups. There is a lot of follow-up combos. It's just a big old wombo with R buttons. That's basically the Direwolves game plan here. And it is about getting the resets on the Jinx, getting excited, looking for those early kills, and then the rest of the team fight is just Frost's Gap. He said already in the interview, give me a hyper carry, watch me work. So that's what we're going to get here, Skimmy. And
Yeah.
I would say looking at the other side of the fence here, the Peace Camp, it is going to be a Gragas mid. We kind of called that one. Just because it's a top laner playing mid right now, he knows his matchup. He knew it was a Yasuo from the get-go, and the body slam has some utility there. So I think there's a lot to be excited about from Peace's side here, but at the same time, I don't think Gragas outright beats a Yasuo at any point because he has a Windwall for your ult combo. And it's pretty hard to gank a Yasuo as a Lee Sin Gragas 2v2. top lane, you should probably be Graves favored, but there's always going to be a point of critical mass for armor where Malphite just wins.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at Pieces comp, and I'm just trying to work out how this actually wins, unless it's a clinic, right? Unless it's just a macro clinic and they get those leads.
You know what I'm thinking also about this Graves build is which way does he go? Is it the shield bow or is it the Eclipse? Is he looking to try and shred down these tanks, or does he need the the shield for the anti-one shot that is potentially coming his way? I don't know.
100%, yeah.
I
mean,
really don't know.
there's going to be a lot of one-shot coming his way. The question is how they weather that one. The same thing can be said for a lot of the members of Peace. Damage is going to be my big question mark, and it has to be, Skimmy, an AP Gragas mid. I think there is no exception to that. We're going to get some the Baus, just one-hit Gragas, if you know what I mean. No choice, right? Because then where does the damage come from otherwise? And it is legitimately a Malphite into a full AD composition if that Gragas isn't full AP.
You raise a good point. I mean, if you're not snowballing, then you've done something terribly wrong. I mean, we've certainly seen situations like this of old where Peace have had, you invest in the AD carry, he will deliver, he will pop off, 11, 12 CS per minute, late game, you've got that GG condition. But those were the days of old. These are the days of new, and I think they certainly need a little bit of extra damage to help prevent this wombo combo. Peace loaded into this game as the team tied, currently in first place, taking on an eager Direwolves, looking to force an upset with a very creative draft. And as we do load in, once again, a chance to talk with one of the coaches and get some insight as to how their week has been. I believe we have Menulog on the line. How are you, Menulog?
Hi, how are you?
Very well, glad to hear from you. I have to ask, it has been the perfect start to the split. So, how's the team feeling? What have you been working on?
Team always feel excited for the perfect start, and we are wondering to have more win in this week.
Well, you've certainly got a schedule that could potentially allow that to be the case. I'll leave it there for the meantime. We'll crack on with this game. Best of luck to you and the boys.
We'll assume he said thank you there, Skimmy. Just to quickly catch us up on what happened. Level 1, Tien on Graves starts with E. So he starts with the dash, he avoids vision, gets into the bush staring at Gudo. Gudo then gets cheesed by 3 people as a result. It was a nice little play from Peace. He almost dies, flashes the wall, however, and will get himself out with his life. However, the timing of that recall for him means that it will be a leashless bot side start. So it is a pretty painful start for Gudo. It also means that he's not going to have his red buff available to him, and that Lisa will be able to consider going for the Raptors beyond just the red buff. And it is just going to be vertical clearing now, and this is where it gets spicy, right? If Aphelios and Lulu have priority, if Gragas can force priority, where does Gudo go? That is the big question for the next couple of minutes.
I almost thought, Rusty, that we'd actually cursed it, right? We've condensed this coaching interview from multiple into just one, and I thought, even now, we've still potentially missed the first lot from happening. Thankfully, wasn't to be the case. The only aftermath was a flash having to be burnt, but very curious to see where things go. And I do feel at ease, being a ARAM connoisseur myself, as you quite rightly know. I see a composition on the right-hand side of my screen says, it hits an ultimate, it goes in, it gets kills, but the only difference is they can actually recall back to base and buy more items. It's quite nice like that. Thankfully, Summoner's Rift works in that fashion, but maybe, just maybe, it's going to be a little bit boring until we do hit level 6.
That was a classic ARAM point there, Skivvy, wasn't it? Oh my god, you can recall on this map. He's right, though.
How good is that?
You're in those team fights, you can just recall, you can just go back to base. Quick stock take here as well. Top lane, as we said, should be winning for Tien, generally just because it is ranged into melee. And a lot of Zoranus' abilities are pretty high on mana cost, particularly the Q harass. And if this is a lane where he's going to put multiple points into Q, then he will be suffering. Very, I would say pretty reliant on having the passive up to be able to actually walk up to waves and trade, but there will be that point where the armor comes online, as we highlighted. So we'll be keeping our eyes peeled on that one. Graves can still run away with the lane, but there is a lot more variance available from level 6 and with armor purchased. Mid lane is also a tier start for Appy, so it's no surprise that a Gragas will start a tier item. That is very known. But in mid lane, it does give a free time for a Yasuo. It's also the Ignite on Kiyose on that Yasuo, so he is in heaven right now. It is just a free laning phase. It will be free for the Diana to try and get level 6. In saying that, we spoke about what happened with the early clear from this Diana. Not the best of times to be seen for Goodo, who is just sitting here waiting for camps to spawn, doing actually nothing.
You never want to hear those words from your jungler, do you? But I tell you what, Jose will be content for the reasons you mentioned. Rush those berserkers nice and quickly. Hit all that necessary critical strike to try and match the tempo power spikes that both these mid laners will be finding. And perhaps hit the wombo combo on his own terms. Lisa's really not making his life though easy, returning back to that point of the map and saying you have no flash, you have no camps, and I'm just going to make your life just that little harder, trying to win that war of mental, you'd have to say.
Yeah, and so the ward that Goodo placed does spot Lisa and does kind of allow him to get the Raptors to disengage, also stops mid lane from over-trading. But at the same time, it doesn't spot the ward that Peace had placed, so both players just get good vision down. However, Lisa is able to staunch that jungle area and secure the push in top lane by securing priority in the top side jungle. A small micro point as well for this mid lane matchup. Whenever Kyose has his passive shield up, he can be super aggressive with how he plays because there's no winning trade for a Gragas. You have to throw a Q or an E, and it's a pretty high commitment of mana just to try and break the passive to be able to trade, you know, 5-10 seconds later. They're not ideal super early into the game, and that's one of the downfalls of the tier start. But it also means you will get more Qs out anyway, so kind of nothing doing in mid lane from that one.
I feel like every time we return to this top lane though, Tien just has no mana. He's reloading that shotgun, but not much more.
Yeah, I mean, one of them wants to push, the other one just wants to have a good time. Zoranus immediately goes back, gets himself with a cloth armor after his reset. Doesn't have the teleport available now, but is level 6. But it does mean that he's probably going to have to push this one in and try and reset again. So the amount of just first move and priority that belongs to Tien is ridiculous this early on. Jose level 6, just as an important stock take, Skimmy.
Yep. Keeping my eyes locked in this mid lane right now. You see Bulldog on your screen just hovering in the area. If anything, just laying down some vision to the bottom side of the map to protect his mid laner. But both will go for that all-important reset. So, inner workings of a chem tank looking to be built, you'd see from Appy, whereas Yose straight to those Berserker Greaves.
It's not an AP Gragas. Look at all of the magic damage the Peace composition have. Now look at the Malphite. Aren't you scared?
Well, you noticed.
Don't you look at that and just
seeing the Barmy Cinder and thinking, where else does this go?
It has to be a tank item.
Sunfire, it's not a Frostfire. I mean, it's just a tank Gragas.
It's not even a Yone that has like magic damage in the kit, right? Like Gragas does have magic damage, but he's going to be doing a lot less of it. Philios, as far as I know, is mostly physical Graves as well. Unless we're counting the smoke screen. I don't think he's going to W max his Graves. I just see that as a window, right? If you're Direwolves, you see the first base from Appy, you think to yourself, it's on, right? You see the grasp start as well from the runes.
Sure. But if anything now, the pressure surely on Peace to try and accelerate a lead or at least find some form of item advantage where the whole discussion point of just mitigate it with armor doesn't necessarily ring true. I think we saw it last year, especially with Chiefs, who would always get these insane early game starts and weren't necessarily always punished for their drafts being heavily AD centered. But curious to see how Peace navigate this one because they haven't been the most aggressive early game team. They've been somewhat in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, you just took the words from my mouth of what I was thinking there, right? Like, Peace probably want to generate early leads. They want to be far enough ahead that comp doesn't matter. Like the Chiefs, like you said, nice ult.
Hello, there's the explosive cast as it buys time for Tien to act like a jungle. He's not, but he's roaming. A flash away and completely cancels out any kind of wombo combo that Peace could have thrown his way. The collision obviously bouncing up against that rock would have been a lot of burst, but Kyose, he's got the moves.
But I mean, at the end of the day, right? Flash was traded for Flash and an exhaust was used here. No ult. He is in trouble, but Lisa is here.
But Zoranus turned this one. He's got no one here to back him up. He has a flash, and he might just get slowly whittled down here by Elise and forcing out the unstoppable force and dancing his way back to that fountain. But that's a lot of pressure early on.
Yeah, and the Graves is able to go back to that lane knowing that the Malphite ulted with a lot of comfort for himself, right? Now looking towards bot lane, Good are going to clear some vision. Perhaps looks for a play down here. Yasuo is still with ultimate, so if he can get priority in mid, I think the play would be much more successful. See how Dialers choose to play this one out. Because you know that Herald's being looked at, right? You know that your Malphite's not on the map because he was forced back. And you know that TN, even without mana, was able to force that priority in top lane. So this situation is just winning for Peace. Even though the trade or the fight mid didn't net them a kill, it's still good overall.
Happy says nothing is free in this life. A 2-level lead over that jungle. And says, I'll pick up anything I can to deny your life. You're trying to do some counter jungling, but you're not going to find much in the lower half of this map. As you say, Peace really are just winning. They've got a Drake, they've now got a Herald, and they have some matchups that are looking pretty good so far.
Gold's dead even, right? You've got a Herald in hand. You've definitely got the opportunity to break some plates. I would say top lane, you probably do just break top lane. It's a full turret that you can break, right? And you probably do want to play around the fact that your Graves is going to be strong. You want him to be ahead of the Malphite at all times. If the Malphite ever finds even a sniff of an opportunity, Malphite can run away with the game. But you still want that wombo to happen in mid if you're Direwolf. So you are going to be playing top side of the map. Difficult to just summon the Herald and get away with it, I think, is the key point there. But knowing that you've got the flash advantage in mid lane, Lisa could potentially look to set something up.
They certainly would have a lot of damage and a fair bit of displacement. I mean, imagine Kyosei's here, a cask, a kick, and you're now kissing that turret. So certainly a way for them to be clever with things. Whether or not it's the most efficient, that's a whole other conversation altogether, but it would look good.
Yeah, sometimes it just needs to look good, you know? Like when you go to the gym, sometimes you just need to lift heavy, just to get it out of your system. There's a lot of Lee Sin players definitely cop those vibes, don't they?
They certainly do. They certainly do. Tien once again, up to his old antics, 11 minutes in, and this lane has not changed whatsoever. Yes, Serenus has now got the Bramble Vest. A little bit of healing cut, but a lot of armor to his name. And it feels like what I thought the focus might be. Top lane, Lisa instantly going to summon that Herald. Very close to the one-shot. And Gudo is still sniffing any kind of avenue, angle, kill shot. But they find it.
Ignite's on.
On to Cheon. Flash away! He's just dodged it all. He has just simply dodged it all. Double summoners, double ults. As easy as you like it.
I mean, it was a good combo from Gudo, but at the same time, it was incredibly predictable and he had the flash in hand. So there's a world where that was actually a kill. Kyosei with the early ignite means at all costs that should have been secured. They wanted it. They do push Cheon out, but he stays in lane.
Oh no, Appy's being caught. Now that's going to be the second running of this wombo combo, and he's going to flash away as he lived. He's got a shield, a safeguard is there, a kick away. Lisa, no! What was that? A first blood. Pure disrespect. Dai was so keen to get that first wombo combo, but they cannot find it.
Ooh.
There is the overforce. There is the knockup with the wild growth. And Lisa has just found two.
Yeah, Direwolves look, no Diana ult in hand. They think they've found themselves a Gragas, but he is still a tank Gragas. We spoke about this ourselves, right? It is not the AP fragile mid laner that you're seeing from Peace. It is the full tank. And he's able to survive. Hits a nice cask, flashes over the wall, and Bulldog just tries too hard to net the kill himself. Let's be honest, that was a bridge too far. And so Peace are able to punish a nice combo from Lisa, like you highlighted, Skimmy. And now it's actually just a 2-for-0 starter and a fairly even goal game. Just balloons.
Oh, no. I mean, the key word that springs to mind is just overforce. You're just desperate for that first move in this game. Much like when you talk about, you know, a Twisted Fate. Level 6 is there, that first Destiny has to land, has to find something. It just felt like the wombo combo, they found nothing on bot lane, they're angered, the opportunity cost has passed. We need to do something. It's a tank Gragas, surely we can punish this. He can't kill us. In fact, you can't kill him.
So the Drake is going to be started here. No contest you would expect. You've got Graves already moving down Malphite top lane. Teleport in hand, but you'd imagine for the moment he's going to enjoy some freedom. Kyosei, big trouble.
Oh, the Pinson maneuver's begun here. Flash away. Is he safe? He's certainly not. You can hit a wind wall, but if you just flash between that and hit him with the the auto attack, really as simple as it was, it's it's not looking good.
That was a crit too, just quietly. TN definitely has the heart of the cards on his side. And nice little roams from the top laner, right? This is similar to Topoon in the way that he is using his priority to really win the map, not just break structures or control the game. And as a result of that turret being taken top lane from the Herald that was spawned, TN has free run of the entire top side of Summoner's Rift. This has kind of started from level 1 in the game and has definitely continued through. Big showing so far from the individual members of the top side of Pieces map, as you would expect. They have stayed consistent in their performances on week 2.
Certainly have. And that was the big talking point as to, you know, just how strong these teams were. I mean, we made these power rankings, right, going into the season. I don't know necessarily, at least for myself speaking, if my power rankings have changed too much just yet. I feel like week 3, week 4 tend to be the go-to point, like a mid-break, as to, you know, have we seen the growth, the development, the change. But Peace is certainly looking to try and defy expectations here. And Appy potentially, same as well. 1v4, he only knows that 2 are here. He's going to trim that wave completely, and unfortunately not to hit the body slam, but enough to keep 4 members interested.
He buys an entire wave worth of time. That's the thing, right? Like,
yeah.
If you consider that there was 2 people sitting in that bush, just hoping Appy would step up, he bides his time, he plays the wave correctly, and all of that time purchases a lot of damage onto the mid lane outer turret. However, Kyose is able to step up to the mark, and as long as he's under turret, they don't really have crazy dive threat to Lulu, Wither Graves, and an Aphelios. Oh, there they go.
Oh, hang on a minute, though. That is the wombo combo! From every angle it comes together! Pythagoras' theorem. Score working overtime. You can't study that one. You just lose. And look at that flash. It's up off cooldown in like 10 seconds. Beautiful from the Direwolves.
Yeah, I mean, they find their mark, right? The flash comes forwards. Lisa's still hunting, but the Herald should just be secured. We'll see how Peace choose to play this. Lulu no ult. Lisa does have everything, but it's pretty much already gone. And now they're just stepping up to the plate on a fight they maybe don't even want in the first place, so they're going to have to disengage here.
Oh, Lisa just keeps managing to dart away from this
Appy.
Ricardo. Oh, the flash! Body slam onto Free. Lisa, can he find it? He's got the board drinker right now. He's got a bouncy, so he can get a lot more gold in his pockets. How on earth are they winning like this? Peace are just a little bit too good.
Direwolves disengage towards Peace instead of just running up to top side, right? You maybe lose your mid lane outer turret as a result, but you don't take 2 deaths, a massive L, summoners being used, and the turret. So that's pretty rough from the Direwolves. We'll see this fight in mid lane once again. Really all you're seeing is the murder of Chaeyon. Just in daylight, broad daylight taken apart. You've got the Jinx traps. You've got the get excited passive on the Jinx there as well, and you've got the follow-up onto the second person. That is what you're going to see from Direwolves. Every minute, every 90 seconds, however long it takes, they're going to look. If you don't have flash, you're suspect number 1. Chaeyon did not have it like you mentioned, Skimmy, but he does now. So it's going to be a bit harder for Malphite to find those angles. However, it is still easy for a Rakan. But it's still fairly easy for a Diana as well.
Be forming a tier list here of ease of access to try and land the wombo, to initiate the wombo combo, because you're certainly right, you're on the money. I think probably of them all, Rakan would be the go-to, right? A flash quickness is probably more counterplayed than the Moonfall with that slight bit of ramp up, but we've seen games like this happen in the LCO before, and we've seen teams be down 10,000 gold, that spooky number of, oh, you know, it's done, it's over with, but teams with these wombo combos have always managed to still make it look like there's a way back, even at those great deficits.
So that last little team fight as well, Skimmy, one thing that we have to highlight, not just the disengage angle of Direwolves, I think Lisa and Appy coupled together in a combo that you would almost call impossible in League, right? Gragas by design wants to scatter everyone, but he kind of created a corridor for a Lee Sin kick and brought the carry of Frost towards them. So that was like one of those 1 in a million little cheeky combos from a Gragas and a Lee Sin that is not often seen the way that it was. So kudos to Appy and Lisa. But listen, they've been playing together for what, 3 years?
Yeah, I think coming on to 4 this year, they've certainly spent a lot of time playing this game together. The synergy, it's there, it's established, more so than probably anybody in the league right now. He has role swapped, but he's showcasing that he might be one of the front runners, even if it is a tank Gragas when they so desperately need AP. He's the focus right now. All the damage going on towards him. He hits the self-peel. A cask on his head, and that's all she wrote.
They do hold a lot here though, right? Malphite, Diana, Rakan, they all hold the ultimates. The flash still there from the Rakan. Zonas might force summoners. Rakan could find the follow-up. Direwolves are going.
Oh, look at that. The Wombo combo coming out. Once again, Menulog Vigil to try and turn things around. Chen has the ideal weapon set up to get these kills. They found 2 so far. Direwolves have done it, but they can't find any kills to capitalize with it. This Lee Sin is out of control. 5-0 in 2. And they aren't showing any signs of slowing down. They want the clean ace. They won't find it. They're going to get denied by Frost, who finally now has no mana. And a thumbs up says, sweet dreams, it's an ace.
And you'd think Direwolves have a composition to fight at the Dragon, but Peace are just too good. They weather the engage, they get the team fight, the positioning of the carries is everything, and we hopefully get to see that in the replay as well. The Drake's going to be secure, and that is the third of the game for Peace. Watch Bulldog go. And note that he doesn't hit really any carries other than TN in this, right? So now you've got Chaeyoung completely untouched, has the white weapons and hits a massive ultimate. So immediately shurikens are going to be on the board. You've got a Lulu ultimate to keep TN alive as well as the shield blow if it came to it. But he didn't even proc that until the dragon hit him. Just not nearly enough damage there from the side of the Direwolves. I think this is pretty sad. We might not want to watch this last death. It's just a little bit of sadness. But listen, it's clean from Peace. They handle the team fights well. Not enough damage from Direwolves. I didn't see the Diana ult, Skimmy.
No, I missed it as well.
That's kind of a big part of the damage as well.
Yeah. I'm just firmly looking at that Aphelios, which has the Wombo combo ideal setup, not for the explosion AoE splash, but just for the one-shot rundown, as we saw in that fight there. It's a dream. It's an absolute dream to be left to your own device there and dodge out the Wombo combo and just take them all down.
Couldn't be more obvious where they are. But Peace have just hit the Scry as well. They're like, g'day, can you stop trying to cheese real quick? We're just trying to clear the wave. And they spot them again. Free access to mid lane. Lisa is putting on a clinic. I mean, you look at the Lee Sin first pick and maybe you ask the question of why if there's other options there, such as the Jinx, right, with the Caitlyn ban. Well, here's why. 5-0-2. Insane performance coming out of him so far.
My MVP for the game already at this stage currently. It won't be Beats because he's taunting us with that horrendous.
It sounds like he's in a shower.
It certainly does. And they could get a little bit wet here. Sprayed with blood. His chain's going to fall on down. Instantly a shutdown. It goes the way of Bulldog. Probably not the target they want, but they'll be happy to get a kill nonetheless. What can they do from hanging out in top lane, forming a gank bush, to now claiming a kill and getting an objective bounty for the mid-tier 1?
I mean, we spoke about a meatball comp from game number 1, Skimmy, and that was true. There was a bunch of meatballs. This time around, it's a death ball. They have no option strategically other than to be grouped as 5 and to just do everything as 5. Baron's the play, but there's no Yasuo combo to follow up with his Malphite. There's no Diana ult as well. This is pretty bad.
Yeah, they really do have to turn right now. All their attention is put on towards Appy. That's not who you want. They're looking out towards TN. Lisa's taunting him across the wall. It's a Sonic Wave. It's the easiest kill of your life. There you go. 6th kill of the game. A flash away, because why not? And then Appy jumps in and says, I'm tank, and I will take you all down. TN with the shield bow is going to be looking to try and keep himself topped up and healthy as he dashes on through, gets the armor, finds the kill, doesn't have the ultimate just yet, but they're all low. Beats says, what can a Lulu carry do? Can't find the kill. It's so sad. It's so sad to see. Look how fragile they are. Finally a kill comes across, and Gudo is grateful that he's still alive.
But jeez, man. I mean, TN, they're lucky that Graves has mastery of the Q, because that was a quick one. They actually net the kill on the fadeaway. The fight finally goes the way of Peace. The thing is, you use so much just to get the single pick onto the 80 carry of Peace. That's not permission to Baron. You're not far enough ahead to force the Baron like that if you've lost your entire Wombo, right? Just the Malphite ult, not going to be enough. Jinx ultimate, not going to be enough to steal away the objective. Beats needs to be careful.
Oh no, oh no.
Little Lulu in a lot of trouble, but we'll be alright.
Whimsy and Shrelias. Who needs to worry about being left alone by the rest of your team with those inspired recalls? Yeah, you're absolutely right, Rusty. I mean, it feels like desperation. Those last 2 plays, from hanging out in top side, looking to try and go for the face check of a wave clear, into this.
I mean, you've got a Malphite ult, and that's it. How is this going to be a turn angle, you know? And if they contest you, once again, your best course of action is probably just to walk away and call it a day. Bulldog tries to use his W to cancel the Lee Sin Q, like if it was to immediately be followed with the Q2. He might have been able to cancel it, but Lisa just ward hops over the wall. He was out of range. And they're able to net that one for free. And then TN comes in here. Lots of attempts from Peace. Flashes forward. Just skirmishing in and out of fights constantly. But the Q just hits fast, which is impressive because honestly, I didn't think that would. And that would have been enough time for Zoranus to walk away. Nevertheless, Baron in hand.
Well, Rusty, cool guys, they don't look at explosions. They hit the fadeaway. They guaranteed the kill. They know that the top half of their map is incredibly fed, and now this Baron buff is going to achieve optimum value. They're going to hit 2 waves at once. You will notice that Hyosei is not here for the base defense right now. He's trying to claim another objective bounty. Locked in top lane right now, can't claim it. The pressure from Peace is too strong.
It is looking a little bit doomed for Diables, but we know what they have to do to get back into this one, right? You need to try and catch Peace sleeping. Maybe they slip up positionally, maybe you find an angle. You've got to hit the team fight. Just that simple. Zoranus, no flash. Gudo, no flash. Bulldog, flash in hand. One of the 3 ports of entry for a team fight is still online with everything available. The rest just need a good angle or a flank.
Soul Point is there, but they are not interested right now. The team fight is locked in their sights. Mid and hip turret is desperately low. Next wave should have it.
They've stopped farming, Skibby. Diables have actually just deathballed for so long that you're almost 100 CS down in top lane. Like, all he's good for now is the ult button.
In they go. First inhibitor gone in the mid lane. 26 minutes, that's down for 5. Explosive cast splits them apart. Kyose's the focus. He's dashing away through these minions, but the minions are now gone. Exhaust on his head. Heal comes across. That is it. It fizzles out. Baron soon to expire. And that's an easy disengage to get the Cloud Soul, surely.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be a soul confirmed, right? I don't think Diables have any time, any possibilities of getting out of the base in time. Especially not with Chaeyoung's DPS at this point. The objective will be secured. He's also going to cycle out that purple weapon and probably the blue one as fast as possible, you'd expect, for the coming objective fights. It is just going to be the soul with no contests. I mean, looking clean still, right? Our piece. It's very hard to fault this team so far in their 3rd game, even though we could look at this and say that's a tough comp. I mean, they make it work. You look at a tank mid lane, Gragas in a full AD comp. Somehow he's 108. Gibby, somehow he's making it happen. He always finds a way.
He certainly does. And he's certainly going to make us eat our words if this game gets wrapped up as cleanly as it is right now, because they've got themselves an 8k lead. And you're thinking, but surely they need the AEP. But time and time again, these teams that draft a heavy emphasis on one style of damage distribution seem to always find this snowball effect or some angle, avenue, idea of what will get us from A to B and ensure that the idea of mitigation is so far removed from the conversation that, you know, this team cannot really deal with us. And we're seeing it right now, as you quite rightly mentioned, during that siege. They're A-ramming, the group does 5, a Flame Horizon is about to become on the cards. It's a dire situation, some might say.
Some might say that, Skimmy. Yeah, it's a battle of 2 directions, really, right? Like, Direwolves want to go forwards, Peace want to go backwards, and Kite, if they survive the engage, it's over for Direwolves. That's really what we've seen so far. So you could say it was a pretty stable start to the game, which might be, you know, in Peace's favor, potentially. Beats just gets the blue buff stolen away from him. An egregious act from the jungler of Peace. Actually, I think that should go to Beats. But nevertheless, Lisa wants that energy regen. He's the carry. He steers the ship. Do what you want, Lisa.
He certainly has steered the ship in the right way this game, hasn't he? Certainly no Titanic, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, there's definitely no iceberg on the enemy team. No damage.
Although it could be. I mean, if we're going down that analogy route, the iceberg could be the fact that, hang on a minute, I have a Malphite, Diana, Rakan all in my face. That's kind of scary. Stealership elsewhere, they don't care. Oh, the flash insect gets denied there, but a nice knock-up. But that's a better knock-up. Moonfall! Surely now, Kyosa can find that kill here. Can't find it just yet, but Frost gets the first kill. He's still excited. He's running away. They're dashing away. They're hunting for more. And then Chaeyoung says, look what I can do. It's the Peace special. AD carries are just simply built different here. They take down 4 members for 1. The tank Gragas is dead, but the damage has been done. And now Peace are marching straight towards the GG condition as they take down 2 turrets. And the Nexus is soon to fall. Quick games on the night, but the favorites do it once again. Forget about the fountain dive. We don't need to worry about it because it's all things Peace tonight.
Tian clearly not a KDA player. He was happy to have a cheeky 1,000 gold given to Frost in the fountain there, but at the end of the day, with how badly that team fight started for Peace, with the perfect wombo finally happening for the side of Direwolves, there's still no shot, right? They were just too far behind at that point. And I mean, we saw what they could have done when it was too late. That's really what we got from Direwolves in that game. We saw the potential when it didn't matter. We saw a lot of really rough calls as follow-ups to picks, right? If you use 4 different ultimates to get a single kill, that's probably not incentive to do something in the next 30 seconds. You just call it a day. You say, we're happy with that. Count the sums that we use. Look in a minute when you've got your everything back up and ready again. But Direwolves, I guess, just a bridge too far, and Peace have their measure. Yeah,
they certainly did. And I had to ask, Mac, I mean, it felt like from the initial play where they so desperately hard full spot into a second play afterwards, it felt like after that mishap, the writing really was on the wall.
There was just so many like 1% moments where I think it was Bulldog jumped over the wall. This is that first blood, which it's like Direwolves had him dead to rights. Appy surviving, and Lisa, look, if we're going to have an MVP, I already want to put Lisa's name out there. This man absolutely popped off on the Lee Sin, coming in clutch there with full HP and jumping, chasing, getting rid of Kyosa eventually, and just ruining that beautiful start he had in mid lane. From there, it seemed like it was just going from bad to worse for Direwolves. So many moments where they were trying to get that Exodia team fight off, and as you guys mentioned before, it didn't happen right until the end. But even at the end, it was like they almost turned that fight back around, but Beats surviving on what looked like a slither of HP, like 110 HP, who knows what it was. Him keeping the rest of the boys nice and healthy, turned the fight back around, straight under the turret. See you later, Direwolves, and then it was just GG from that point. Here, look at Beats on the bot side of the fight. Man's almost out of there, but he just spaces far enough away. There it is, pops that shield just in time. And then it's just the full turnaround. They had way too much focus on him, and he did his role perfectly in that final fight.
I think there's just confidence for me, right? Like,
yeah.
Peace's draft has 2 blind pick players that, like Gragas and Graves are both blind pick tops right now. They're the staple. We don't know what our opponents are going to do, so let's just pick, right? Like, because we have to do something. They have a stable bottom lane as well of an Aphelios and a Lulu, and they have a very stable meta jungler in a Lee Sin. And the fact that they can just be literally that stable in draft and in play, and it's just that easy for them against this Wombo, I think speaks volumes for what we can expect from Peace. Even though this is only our 3rd game of the MAC, I have surprisingly high hopes now.
Yeah, I'm very, very impressed by everything we've seen from Peace so far. Direwolves, I've got high hopes for them as well, but unfortunately just those couple of moments going the wrong way, especially, that invade from the start. Good to see that we finally got an invade here in the LCO for 2022. Hoping we get a little bit more early game action as well. But that coach interview didn't really bleed into it, fortunately, so we did get to still past it. So, the shorter coach interviews definitely coming in clutch in situations like that.
Yeah, and that's what you really want. I mean, at one point I was ready to cut middle off mid-conversation, think surely there's no way this could ever happen. But I think it's been a rough couple of games there for Direwolves. So bit of a time for them to realize that there is a clear gap between these teams right now. But I'm still going to stick by my statement. I believe that this is a team for the future. With time on their side, they're all super young. They've definitely got a solid foundation, but right out the gates, teams like Peace and so on are just a little bit too good.
Well, someone else that got their prediction right, of course, was Kitty. So let's bring her back into the conversation. Kitty, did you enjoy that game?
that Lee Sin say that Red Buff was absolutely nuts, and I can't wait to interview Lisa, the Lee Sin from last game. Hey Lisa, congrats on your win. That was probably the cleanest Lee Sin game we've seen so far in the LCO. So, what was your reaction like when you saw the Exodia comp locked in by Dials?
Like I said, the first week, everyone is going to drop a bomb on our new ADs, but we won't let that happen. You know, we gotta win the game for our AD Chaeyoung.
Chan did take quite the amount of ultis to the face that game, but you did carry for his sake. And tell me your comms during the red buff skirmish.
To be honest, this game's comm was pretty random because right now, this second, it's a Chinese New Year's night before the New Year. So in game, I was just saying Happy New Year to the enemies, like every second. Like when I see Dyna there, I was just saying Happy New Year to him.
I mean, hope you have a happy new year as well. And one last question. So we did see RP build full tank on the Gragas mid. Why is that? You guys were versing Zorinus on Malphite building full armor.
I can't answer this question for RP, I think. Maybe he wants to verse Trinimir and he wants to build tank or something like that. I'm not too sure. I think it's OP.
That's okay.
Gragas OP.
It's OP. I mean, you and RP had an amazing synergy during that game. The Gragas ults into the Lee Sin ults were absolutely amazing. And, well, thanks for the interview, and hopefully you guys have some really good food for Chinese New Year's Eve. Thank you, Lisa.
Happy New Year! 新年快乐!
新年快乐!
The big plushy fans in the Peace household, aren't
Love it,
they?
eh?
They're just having it, like, tonight's probably going to be a really fun night for them. Hopefully they'll pull up tomorrow feeling good for their game because they do have another game to play tomorrow. So don't go too hard in the paint, gentlemen, if you're watching the broadcast. Now, of course, that brings us one step closer to the next little bits all going on. Of course, the player of the game is here as well, and you just spoke to him. You know who it is. Man had a perfect game on the Lee Sin. It was your boy Elisa bringing it in, bringing it home. 7-0-6 and 81% kill participation. Man was all over the place, saving his teammates from the damn get-go, Rusty.
You can't ask for much more from your jungler, all right? Lisa has an outstanding game. Peace overall have a great game, but he's got the moves, he's got the kicks as well. The combos were definitely always there, and there's only one combo I think that he actively failed, and it was just that massive force in top lane. But look, when you're 12,000 gold ahead, make those plays. If it fails, no one cares, and it kind of baited Direwolves into the losing team fight, right? So yeah, you take those if you are Lisa, and you'll be glad that you didn't actually die in that last play.
Need to point out as well, that gold share should have been 21%. He never should have stolen the blue buff before off of Beats. That was criminal, absolutely criminal. So minus 1 point out of all the points. You know, he's got another point towards, of course, MVP for the split, though. Playing games like that, if he continues that performance, Kitty, that's ridiculous.
I mean, Lisa has always been known as a facilitator, but he has picked Lee Sin, carried on it, Nidalee carried on it, so I'm quite excited to see what Lisa has in store for us. With Cheon, he's also struggling a little bit, but I'm also excited to see what he's got in store.
Well, look, fortunately for him, he's got a very strong team surrounding him this season. And look, you guys at home, I put you on blast when we came back from the last ad break before game number 2, and you've pulled through. You've got some memes for us. Let's have a look at what you've sent in from the fans. We love you dearly. And oh, I receive. You receive a Renekton. Is that fair?
Show the set triple.
Is that a fair trade?
You receive 1 kill. We receive your Nexus. It's an alternative there as well.
I think, you know, that's pretty on point. I think Order are doing God's work coming in clutch.
Thank you,
with
Order.
Memes like that, and if anyone else needs some inspiration, well, it's up on your screen right now. It is, of course, the memes. We could be inspiration too. I feel like Rusty is a very inspirational man. But look, before we go to the break, if you guys are not following the Twitch, please hit that follow button so you don't miss out on the first games of the day. You don't want to be coming in on game 2, game 3, and miss out on action like that. He's putting on an absolute masterclass this game, and we know that they're probably going to be doing a bit more of that throughout split number 1 of 2022. But of course, we've got 2 more games coming up this evening, and to get there, we've got to go through another break. So coming up after this, Chiefs and Gravitas, they're going to be battling it out on the Rift.
Ultimates, the flash still there from the Rakan. Zonas might force summoners. Rakan could find the follow-up. Direwolves are going.
Oh, look at that. The one coming out once again. Menulog to try and turn things around. Chen has the ideal weapon set up to get these kills. They've found 2 so far. Direwolves have done it, but they can't find any kills to capitalize with it. This Lee seems